Turn around, what the fuck? Welcome everyone, this is Andres Restart, and today I'm going to pose a question. Do we really need a Nintendo Switch Pro? That's kind of the question that's kind of on my mind as of late, basically because of all these rumors swirling around about a Nintendo Switch Pro. A more powerful Nintendo Switch that's close to PS4 power, with better battery life, more storage space, and it's going to run current Nintendo Switch games a lot better, and maybe even have some exclusive third-party games. Now, if this is the case, definitely there's going to be people out there that aren't going to be happy. And before we get into this question, I want to specify that while there are a lot of rumors talking about a Nintendo Switch Pro, the initial report from Wall Street Journal did not necessarily indicate that this new revision would be more powerful. So we probably are going to get a revision next year, but it isn't necessarily going to be more powerful. So, for those who are concerned, you can take solace in at least that it may not be more powerful, it may not have exclusive third-party games, but it also might. And if that's the case, I'm now posing the question, do we really need that? Is that necessary? Let's talk about it. So, here's the thing. I love my Nintendo Switch. I love this thing so much. I fell asleep with it in my arms the other day. It was the cutest thing ever, at least to me, and maybe only me. But that doesn't change the point that I love my Nintendo Switch. The games on it are amazing. This is a Nintendo system that has a home console, it's a portable, it has third-party support. That's kind of crazy. That's the most craziest part. It's not the fact that it's a hybrid system, it's the fact that it has third-party support. Nintendo and third parties haven't really been a thing for such a long time, yet it is now on the Nintendo Switch. And I think that's a sticking point here. I think Nintendo might be concerned about their third-party support going forward into the future. So here's the thing. It seems like that the next generation for PlayStation and Xbox is upon us. A lot of I don't know about developers, but a lot of journalists are talking about it and reporting on it, and it has been a few years already. We are in year 5 for these systems. Next year, where supposedly we're going to get announcements for them, would be year 6. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. The typical console generation only lasts 5 years. So it's just last generation that was very long. It lasted for 7 years, and the reason it was, well, 7 years for PlayStation at least. And the reason it was that long was because they were shifting into HD development. The systems were very expensive. It just made sense for developers to stay onto that system a little bit longer. But now things have sort of settled down a little bit, calmed down a little bit, so maybe the next systems aren't too far away. That's what the talk is, that's what the rumors seem to be, that's what a lot of people seem to believe, that the next generation is really soon. So if that's the case, if PlayStation 5 is going to be announced and it's going to come out next year, is that going to affect Nintendo? Yes. Yes, it is. It's definitely going to affect them. While Nintendo may say that they're not trying to directly compete with Sony and Microsoft, in a sense, they kind of have to, right? Because, well, they all make games, and we all buy their games, and a lot of these games are similar games, or the same games. We just want the best way to play them. So there is a competition. I'm not going to buy into that PR speech by Nintendo. It is definitely competition. And it's going to be definitely an issue if the next generation systems are so much more powerful and developers really shift in that direction. They may find it extremely hard to port games over to the Nintendo Switch, considering how much weaker it already is to the current systems. And if that happens, Nintendo's going to lose third-party support, and I don't think they want to. They finally got it. Why would they give that up? I don't know. Another thing is, they don't want the Nintendo Switch to just do well, they want it to do exceedingly well. They want to maintain the sales momentum, and right now, the sales momentum is a little bit lower than it was at first, and as the Wall Street Journal suggests, Nintendo wants to do something to bring up the sales back. They want to get it back to a pace that could exceed even Wii levels. That's what they're going to try to do. So one way they can do that is by releasing a new system next year. And it may need more power considering the competition. Nintendo may want to do something to stay in the spotlight. So it makes sense for Nintendo to maybe have a more powerful system come out next year. And while you may say that's anti-consumer, that's not fair to the fans, that releasing a new system so soon into a console's life cycle, keep in mind that for handhelds, there's always a revision after 2 years. This is commonplace. This has been happening since handheld systems have been a thing for Nintendo. So in that regard, I don't think it's too much of an issue. If it's just a revision that doesn't really improve the power, it's just kind of like better battery life, slightly better design, maybe more storage space. If it's just that, no issues, nothing to worry about. But if it is a Switch Pro, then it may be more powerful, it may have some exclusive third-party games, that may be an issue. Being more powerful itself, I don't think it'll be too bad. Mainly because, well, sure, yeah, maybe it'll make Breath of the Wild have a better resolution or a better frame rate. Maybe Mario Odyssey will look a little bit better. Maybe Xenoblade 2 won't be a blurry mess. Maybe Wolfenstein 2 and Doom won't be a blurry mess. That'll be great to have games that run on the Nintendo Switch run better on the newer Nintendo Switch. That'll be fine for me. But here's the thing. That'll be fine for me, and I think a lot of fans who are more on the casual side may see the difference, and they'll be like, that's not really that big of a difference, I don't need to buy it, I'm happy with my current Nintendo Switch. I think most people are going to be okay with that, and for those hardcore fans that are graphical whores like myself, then we may jump onto the Nintendo Switch Pro. Okay, that'll be fine. But if there are third-party games that are only available on Nintendo Switch Pro, that'll be a problem. You know, it's one thing if you can't notice the difference between 720p and 900p, but it's another thing if you can't notice the difference between a game and there no game, right? I think most people will be able to tell the difference between there being a game and there being no game, and the rumors suggest that maybe Resident Evil 2 Remake will be made available on the Nintendo Switch Pro rather than the base Nintendo Switch. And if that's the case, people aren't going to like that. That's going to be kind of a problem, and I don't think that's necessarily fair for fans. But is this something that can be controlled? Or is it just basically we don't really have a choice in the matter? Is it just one of those situations where it's just gonna happen? It's just gonna happen because the Switch is just too weak, and it just won't work out for that very reason. It's just a necessary evil. Maybe that may be the case. But I've heard that the main issue behind the Nintendo Switch isn't so much power, but rather storage. The Nintendo Switch has limited internal storage, and the actual cartridges can't hold that much data either. So maybe it'll make more sense for Nintendo to find ways to rectify those issues. I've heard that Grand Theft Auto 5 didn't come onto the Nintendo Switch mainly because the 64GB cartridge was not made available to developers. So maybe next year, to combat the next generation and try to maintain third-party support, Nintendo starts making those 64GB cartridges available to developers, and they also do release this revision, whether it's more powerful or not, but it has more storage space. These could be things that could be done to make things easier for developers. And of course, by that time, micro SD cards will be even cheaper, and if you need additional storage space on your Nintendo Switch, you can get that as well. And these sorts of things may make it easier for developers to be like, okay, we can do this, we can handle this, that'll be fine. Maybe they can even resort to using some sort of cloud storage as well. That's a possibility. Nintendo's taking more advantage of that cloud sort of service. Nintendo does seem to be moving more in a direction of cloud services. There are some games that only are cloud streamed on the Nintendo Switch. There is the cloud saves now. Maybe that'll be an option as well. I don't know. But there's definitely some things that can be done in terms of storage. In terms of power, the only thing that can really be done is to release a new Nintendo Switch. I mean, maybe they could somehow come out with a 4K dock, but that doesn't solve the problem of it being portable. When it's portable, it doesn't work, right? And just for the record, I don't think there's going to be a 4K dock next year. I'm just kind of, saying, because I don't know if you guys remember, there was a patent for a supplemental computing device, this idea that the Nintendo system could be powered up in some way, which is where the idea of a 4K dock was sort of born from. But that's besides the point. It may be the case that Nintendo can find ways to maintain third-party support, but this may also come with the reality that Nintendo is going to release a more powerful Nintendo Switch next year, and it may have exclusive third-party games. That would kind of suck. It would kind of suck, and personally, I don't want it, but Nintendo may need to sort of stay in the spotlight, maintain sales, and compete for third-party support. That may be something that they have to do. And, if that's the case, I guess in a way Nintendo needs it. Do we need it? Some fans kind of do. Some fans kind of want to be able to play Resident Evil 2 Remake on the Nintendo Switch. So I guess in that regard, it kind of makes sense. But here's the thing. I still think it's very anti-consumer. I still think to make a new system that has only some games available on one version of it 2 years after the system's release is not a good look. It really isn't. And I feel like the better situation would be for it to be kind of more like PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. Games are made available on both of those systems. That would make more sense. But maybe it'll be the case where it's just not possible, it's just a necessary evil, and some third-party games will be available only on the new Nintendo Switch Pro. And if that's a possibility, I want to stress this. If a developer is given the opportunity to develop on the Nintendo Switch, and they see this huge market, the millions of people that have the base Nintendo Switch, how many of them are going to leave all that money on the table? I imagine very few. So even if it is possible for some developers to only have their games available on the Nintendo Switch Pro, I feel like most will probably opt to make it available on both because that's just too much money on the table to leave behind. So when everything's all said and done, I think the most likely situation is that maybe, yeah, we do get a more powerful Switch next year. Maybe not, I don't know. But if we do, I think it'll be more powerful and games will run better. But also, there will be better storage space, there'll be better battery life, and games will be made available on both systems in nearly every single case. But there may be a couple exceptions. That's unfortunate. I don't know. We'll see. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that we need a Nintendo Switch Pro? Do you guys think that the rumors are true? Do you think there will be some exclusive third-party games? I don't want it to happen, but I'm not sure if it will happen. That's why I'm going to ask you guys so you guys can let me know what you guys think. But anyways, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you want to support the channel even more, please check out my Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can gain access to additional content. And you could support me and I can continue doing this. I would really appreciate that. But it's not necessary because you watching this alone is support in and of itself. And I'm very grateful. So thank you so much, guys. And I'll see you all really soon.